Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. It is week 14. That's not a mistake. I didn't misread this. This is not a drill. We are rounding out the first week of December. There are 5 weeks left of the football season. There are, 2 teams on bye this week, the Commies and somebody else.
Commies and Cards.
Thank you. Commies and Cards out this week, and then we are done with buys. Basically, nothing is decided except for the Patriots are not in. Yeah, Patriots and Panthers can take January off. Basically everybody else, if you finish 5-0 or 0-5, it can take you in, it can take you out. The markets seem relatively sure who's going to win all of these divisions, Andy. None have been clinched, but let's just say of the 8 favorites currently, give me an over-under of how many of those favorites actually win their respective divisions.
So I looked at this a little. Did you see Miami's schedule the next 2 games?
Yes, piece o' cake.
Yeah, basically. So if Miami wins those, the worst they could possibly be is 11-6. The Bills are currently 6-6. I'm not saying that one's lock city, but that one almost feels just as lockish as San Francisco at this point, which is surprising. That's not something we thought. Obviously, we really didn't. Am I on the bad mic today?
Maybe. It's just the bass in your voice isn't hitting me.
Speaker, microphone. Maybe, it's on. I just don't have it. I'm going to move it a little closer.
There we go.
Let's get
Sounds
the bass
good.
in. But yeah, I'm kind of penciling in Miami and that San Francisco is pretty much locks. And truthfully, as shitty as we've seen some of the Chiefs games happen, do you really see a world where the Broncos are able to jump them? So going with 4.5 is my over-under, because as much as we don't believe in everything about the Ravens, it would really startle me to see the Steelers or Browns be able to overtake a 2-game lead there as well. So Jags very much in peril with the Colts and Texans just a game back. The Lions are not such a sure thing with a close game right now, and that's a 3-game lead. That's like my half. That one's pretty locked, but they have some very big liabilities, and suddenly the Packers are playing well. Minnesota's within striking distance. Obviously, the NFC South is a disaster, and Eagles Cowboys. There's a high leverage game coming up this week.
Yeah, Eagles. Do they mathematically clinch if they win? Not quite.
Doubt it. They would be up 2
There's still
full
4 games left. There's still 4 games left. They could lose all 4, I guess.
Well, the thing is, they'd be up 2 full games, but it's essentially 3 because you have the double win against Dallas.
Yeah.
So
I think
you could lose out, but the thing is, you're not clinched, but you're fucking clinched at that point because Dallas has a meat grinder. 3 road games in 4 weeks against tough opponents.
Yeah. Yeah. It is there are definitely some teams right now that are kind of flagging. There are some teams that are fatigued. There are some teams that are coming off of rest. There are some teams that are getting healthy. And there are some teams that are going to have to consistently face a rest disadvantage all the way in. I'm looking at you, Chiefs. So it's kind of an interesting, still kind of wide open, particularly on the AFC. I don't think anyone questions who the number 1 power rated team in the NFC is right now. In fact, I dare you to find anyone that says the Eagles or Cowboys are better than the Niners after the 2 results we have in the books. But all that said, it's a great week of football this week, as they all are. And I've kind of completely come around on just the garbage product that we're getting. And I've embraced it and fully love it now, because I kind of am excited for this Thursday night shit show, which is the New England Patriots.
This could be an all-time ago.
New England Patriots at the Steelers. Now, help me understand something, Andy. In what universe are the Steelers 6 points better than a professional football team?
I know, but man, I mean, New England, I make this like 5.8. I looked at my numbers. I bet I'm close. I would hate to lay the points with the Steelers right now. Maserati Mitch, not it. Kenny Pickett was not it either, but This is a tough one because we have seen, if anything positive has come out of Foxborough, it's been a halfway decent defense, even after we had the injuries. They rebounded like we talked about with losing your CB1. They lost some pieces, but they've rebounded. They have the coaching staff. They have the know-how in place to coach guys up on the defensive side of the ball. And their secondary has played at a pretty decent level. I know Keenan was banged up, but they kind of took him away. That was what you needed to do. They kept it close. Obviously, they were never, the 6-0 lead felt insurmountable. That's the thing, though. It's like, are they ever going to score? Because if you don't have Ramondre, who's going to miss several games. He's been a nice little spark plug. You probably don't have Demario Douglas. Like, what's the game plan? I guess you have some decent tight ends.
Yeah.
So this is a defense in the Steelers that can be beat across the middle.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the strongest coverage unit as far as linebackers go. We've seen short stuff work against this team, and it's a defense that's been beat up. Obviously, the Minka missing time has made a big difference on how they play in the box and in the coverage over the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're able to do, like, Juju's healthy, right? Somebody's got to be healthy. You have him, you have a slot guy, and you have a couple tight ends, and then you have Zeke.
We have a couple guys that can't separate.
Yeah, I know it's rough.
And you have
a case for New England,
I guess,
and it's hard. It's so hard.
Super duper tough. Okay, here's the case for New England.
Here's a fun one. First team to muff a punt loses.
I like that. That's like the Patriots Jets last year, right? The Patriots finally got the punt return for a touchdown, and that was the deciding factor.
Yeah,
remember that game?
It was 3-3 for the longest time.
This has every whiff of that. Here's the thing, though, man. The case for the Patriots is that the best unit on the field is the Patriots defense.
Yeah,
out of the four.
So it's similar to what we saw when the Browns beat this Steelers team. Play the field position game. That's all they could do is use your incredible strength on defense, play the field position game, get the ball at the 45 or 50 a bunch of times. Hopefully variance is on your side. You get a penalty or two. You get a big play or two. You kick some field goals, or God willing, and the creek don't rise, you accidentally find yourself with a 2-yard Zeke Elliott touchdown. You can win this game because the Steelers are. I really do think what we saw, the outburst, the offensive outburst against was it Cincinnati?
Yeah,
probably a bit of an aberration. That is a horseshit defense.
You mean 400? You mean the 400 yards of offense?
400 yards, that's some huge day. They still only scored 16. They weren't great in the red zone, and they're on their backup. They're on their, now at this point you're on your backup quarterback with Kenny missing multiple weeks at this point.
I think the Patriots money line is a bet. It's taken me a while to get here, but I think it's the Pets. And the reason is pretty straightforward, which is, if Trey McBride can make it look easy, you got Minka Fitzpatrick running out there with a broken hand. They have no linebackers. They lost the guy who, they lost Landon Roberts, correct? Yeah. If I'm not mistaken. So you're going to have Mark Robinson and I assume Cal Walker, who I think was like a practice squad guy. And then your Cam Hayward looks like he is on absolute fumes. Nose tackle is Keanu Benton, I guess. There's definitely soft spots all up the spine of this Steelers defense, which means Zeke should have a fine day. Hunter Henry should have a good day. Like you said, they can play ball control. The Patriots offensive line is reasonably healthy. They got Trent Brown out there, I guess. By the way, this just cracks me up. I'm sorry to kind of divert us, but did you know that there was a player on the New England Patriots who is starting at right guard named Sidy Sow? Sidy Sow? Familiar with his work?
Sounds delicious.
Sidy Sow. He's an offensive guard out of Eastern Michigan. Anyway, I think the Patriots could probably hold off TJ Watt and company and avoid the key mistake in this game and get a win. The other reason I kind of think that Patriots actually did okay offensively in the second half of that Chargers game. They moved the ball better than they had been. They had 2 punts and two drives ending in downs. But they had drives that were relatively successful.
It wasn't their worst offensive day of the year.
A 39-yard drive, a 46-yard drive, a 42-yard drive, and a 29-yard
Drew, you
drive.
go look at their box scores. It was only like their fourth worst game of the year. They just didn't finish anything. And then also, on the Steelers side too, that the guard Seumalo,
yep.
He got banged up. I don't have a status on him yet. We didn't see Najee participate in practice today, and I know you have 2 good running backs, but it's better to have 2 than to have 1. So interesting to see what those injuries come up as.
Patriots defense is grading. Patriots defense is grading. The Patriots defense is grading really well right now. I'm sorry.
It feels like a Patriots first half parlayed with the first half under or something.
You think the Steelers getting to 13 points? I don't think so.
That's an interesting point. We've been doing a lot of with our friends Profit Exchange. Those markets we put up? You guys can do that if you're in New Jersey. You can just request it. In fact, they give you a bonus now if you request a market and fund it. They'll give you almost like a horse rebate. I think you get part of your money back if it doesn't come through on your side. But we put up, instead of an anytime touchdown score, because we've been blessed with a bunch of those lately, we're near even money. So it's a good two-way market. There's not a good one this week for anytime touchdown score. We just did race to 10 points. And we did put in the caveat, this is a push if nobody makes it.
I like the Patriots in the race to 10.
It is. So that is a fun one. It is like 2-1 you can get right now. I'm not sure how much liquidity. There was a couple thousand in the pool. I'm not sure how much you get on the Patriots, but if you think the Patriots get to 10 before the Steelers, it was like 2-1 right now. Not a bad bet.
Okay, last word on this extreme shower fart of a game. Any chance that the refs get involved to try to make an entertainment factor out of this turd?
How would you even do that? Like a bunch of DPIs?
All I don't know. Maybe send the crew out that did the Seahawks Cowboys game.
The crew that just doesn't call holding.
And they call lots of defensive. That was a defensive holding. We're not going to shade the replay. Keep going, guys.
Yep. They're already up under center. We'll show you that one later. Okay.
Yeah. There's a chance. I don't even know if I buy into there being any kind of incentive or like any kind of discussion had with the refs in these types of games. But if this is a weird surprise, if we're at halftime, we're like, well, I guess 30 was wrong because there's been 4 touchdowns already, and thanks a lot for. Each team's got six penalties for 50 yards. We're gonna be like, all right, well,
yeah. I'm not super interested in betting this game outside of some props.
Okay.
I don't hate your high variance. Steelers offense still sucks. Play the money line on the other side. But
yeah,
couple of all time coaches going at it.
A couple of all timers.
Pickens maybe, but like I said, they have. As much as I'm not super keen on J.C. Jackson Redux. That unit has played well with Duggar and Jackson, and I can't think of the other corner's name, but it's played well enough where they're able to shut down at least one guy at most times. Brinks is on alt overs. Listen to this animal.
It has that whiff to it. Like nobody's expecting anything at all from this game, but there's no weather. And
I know this is like the one where it looked like there was going to be weather because everything else is catching it. It looks like the big weather system is going to be past this, and it's going to be affecting everything East Coast. Because I mean, really, Pittsburgh is Ohio, man. It's the Midwest, pert near. So it does seem like the weather is going to get past this one.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Well,
moving on.
I can't advocate an under. Sorry. I tried. I was going to. I'm out. I think the Patriots are past. And honestly, this, I don't even know what number they need to get to win, but I think they have the best unit on the field with their defense. So.
I was hoping we'd see some steam. I was interested at the Patriots at like 7.
Yeah. Speaking of the best unit on the field on Sunday in Cleveland, it is without question the Cleveland Browns defense. Brownies defense is interesting for a couple reasons, Andy. I don't know if you know this, but they are all universe. And
Very
if
good.
you split out their home and road and you look at their homes only, it looks fake. Like,
It's like an order of magnitude better.
It's crazy. And you can't be number one and then be even better in a certain situation. That's weird. But the Browns defense are. Presumably another week of Myles Garrett getting his shoulder healthy could be more disruptive, especially because he's going against a replacement left tackle. $10 to anyone who can name the guy who's been presumably going to be filling in for Walker Little, who was filling in for Cam Robinson, by the way. You got a guess for me?
This is going to be 3 spots down the depth chart. I didn't even check it. Is it Hance?
It is Blake Hance. Blake Hance, who
I was looking. So I cheated because I was looking at this earlier, and they were, I'm like, God, who's even like your next guy? Because sometimes during the game they just have to fill in, and then for the next week they promote people, move people around. But it does look like Hance. If the injuries. The injuries could not have been worse. I mean, losing the game sucked, but you also lost another left tackle.
Yeah.
You lost your second best, maybe your best receiver at some times. You lost one of your good corners.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually 2 or 3 other guys that are injured down the line too, but obviously Trevor's the biggest part of this. This was Jaguars -3 on the look ahead.
Yeah.
This has shifted to full 6. The totals come down as well. The Jags might not score, man. I mean,
what's possible? Beathard's hurt,
and that's the other thing too. I think Bethard.
It's his non-throwing shoulder. It's his non-throwing shoulder. He's going to play.
He'll play, but man, after that, it's like if he does get like buried under Garrett and that shoulder separates, it's Nate Rourke coming in. Canadian pride of Nate Rourke.
If you look up Blake Hance in the dictionary, or you're looking him up because you want to learn about him.
He designed Pinehurst. No,
he was a guard and tackle at Northwestern. He basically defines journeyman. He came into the league as a free agent, undrafted free agent, who was taken by Buffalo or signed by Buffalo in May of 19. Since then, Buffalo waived him. Washington signed him as a free agent. Washington waived him. Jacksonville put him on the practice squad. Jacksonville waived him. The Jets put him on the practice squad. Cleveland claimed him from the practice squad. Cleveland gave him a tender. Then they waived him. Then San Francisco claimed him from Cleveland. Then San Francisco waived him. Then Jacksonville claimed him from San Francisco. Jacksonville gave him a tender. Jacksonville ultimately waived him as well and then brought him back in emergency status. So he has had quite the roller coaster of a career, Mr. Blake Hance. Look forward to seeing how you perform against Mr. Myles Garrett. Let's go, buddy.
If Garrett is feeling better at all, if that shoulder is good, this is a pretty serious issue for a backup quarterback who's again now down another receiver, down a tackle ish. I mean, even God, who's across from me? He used to play for Minnesota. He used to play for Baltimore. Who's our other?
Zadarius Smith.
Darius Smith. Like Darius Smith is no slouch.
No,
like this is a big ass.
God, man, we didn't mention maybe the most important part of the Browns defense is that Denzel Ward is back.
Ward is back. That's the thing. We only have one. You have one good wide receiver now, and you can say whatever you want about Zay, but essentially you got Ridley. If they just want to shut him down with Ward, then I don't know. The game plan runs through ETN. Have fun. Have fun. And this one is going to see some weather.
What do you think of the total here?
Up on the lake,
31.
Total's about right, man. It should be super low because it's not
Amari
like
Cooper probably not going to go.
Cooper's he's in the concussion protocol. I don't think he's going to clear. So as much as I'm keen on what Flacco did, the fact they trusted him enough to they opened up the playbook a little more than I thought for a guy that's only been on the team, but he's a veteran.
He's a vet. Yeah.
He picks it up quick. There is always that like, oh, he's so good. Remember, it's like the Mike White theorem.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh man, this guy looks good. And then you get a little tape on him and they figure out, oh, this is the game plan that they're using to make it life easy on him. Let's just stop that.
Yeah.
Little less probably with Flacco because he's a savvy and wily old vet, but without Cooper on the field and, just one more game, a team prepping for Flacco and seeing what they did with him last week, I feel like he takes a step back. Like, I don't think this total gets to 30 because it's not a Browns team that scores en masse. And I don't know that the Jaguars will score here, man. If you made me lay this, I would take the worst of the number and play the
without
Browns.
question. No question. Absolutely no question. The Jaguars, in my opinion, are in deep shit. Is that the right? Yeah.
Their ass is in the jackpot.
Their ass is in the jackpot. They have 3 very losable games left on their schedule. A 4th if you include at Tennessee, which is definitely no guarantee. Their defense was a flaming hot at the top of their market, rated better than they were, clear, and the regression hit like a bolt of lightning at the hand of Jake Browning. And the injuries and the situation they're in now is not going to help. I hope that the Jaguars defense holds on by their tails in this game and keeps it competitive and keeps the scoring down so that maybe people kind of forget about Monday Night Football and forget about the state of this defense and how they could be had. Outside of Josh Allen randomly having just bursts of explosion as a pass rusher, there's nothing there. There's really nothing there. And I don't know. They play.
You see it like you say. You see it in glimpses with Allen and Walker. You see them look good for a few plays a game, and then the rest of the time the defense looks pretty suspect. If you made me bet this game, it would be Browns and under. Probably not getting involved yet. Maybe play some props.
Okay.
There's other games at the board, man, and not only that, but Jags are on a short week.
That's a great point.
It doesn't feel good. Like, I know there's talk. He's doing everything he can. He's rehabbing. I didn't understand this phrase. He's rehabbing as hard as he can. That's not how rehab works. Rehab is usually it's like, how do you get rid of a hangover? You need to see the clock move ahead 10 hours. That's the only way. It's the same thing with rehab. You can't just rehab harder. You have to give that thing time, and I just don't see it happening.
You want to know a fun long shot bet right now?
Trevor Lawrence first touchdown score.
No, I hate that. I don't think Trevor Lawrence plays this week. I don't think he plays this week. I don't think he plays next week either. It's
Nathan Rourke last
versus
touchdown
Baltimore.
score.
It's versus Baltimore. No, my fun play. Jaguars playoffs. No, 10-1. Have you heard of crazier things? Trevor's been dealing with the knee injury in the same leg all freaking season. Now he's got a high ankle sprain. He's going to come back and be as mobile. They have no run game. Their defense is like a flaming hot regression right now. They're going to lose this week to the Browns. They're going to lose next week to the Ravens. If they drop, 2 of their last 3, they're out. 10-1.
So yeah, I don't hate it. I want to look at my actual odds on this. I had it up today. I ran a sim, and I still had the Jags winning the division, but it was basically like, I think they won on a tiebreak.
Yeah.
Like, they finished with the same record as Houston. And then I had Houston in as a wild card, where it doesn't take a lot for that to break wrong. And this team, because if they lose this game, the Browns are likely a wild card team. And then if you don't win the division, you are losing a tiebreaker to the Browns. You will likely be, the Texans will be there. The other wild card teams would be, oh my goodness, 14-1. That's probably a bet. Oh man,
not bad. All right, well, I'm ready to hit the panic button.
It's kind of like Buffalo too. Like, they'd be in a weird spot where the tiebreakers were all against them. Buffalo has like no tiebreakers.
Like, they're well enough coached that I think Peterson can get them together and win that last game against the Tennessee Titans to get them in as a wild card, even if they fumble the bag in the AFC South. But boy, oh boy, every single alarm bell. You know what you should be doing this time of year, Andy? If you want to have success in getting into the playoffs and then in being in the playoffs, you should be playing good defense. You know what else you should be doing? You should have an effective run game. You know what else would help? A healthy quarterback.
Not getting hurt. Yeah.
Yes, a healthy quarterback would be just delightful. They don't have any of this shit.
I was gonna say they did beat the Colts. They beat the Colts and the Steelers.
Twice. Yeah, they got the Colts twice.
They got the Colts and Steelers tiebreakers, so that's kind of massive for finding a 7. But there's still a situation where the Colts just have a better record than them.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving.
I like that 14-1. That's a fun one.
LAR at BAL. Weather.
You like the Rams here.
Do. I'm apparently the only person on earth, as it is still widely available at a very favorable +7 right now. Never got the +7.5 that we talked about on Sunday. It's just been sitting right here, so everybody agrees there is a 7-point margin of difference between these two teams, Andy. Now, before we get into the kind of specifics of this handicap, because there are a lot of angles that we're going to have to talk about, I just would like to take you back in time to the preseason and ask you, relative to the way we were in August and relative to the way the market treated these teams in August, who would you say you have a more favorable opinion of now relative to the end of the summer?
I mean, I've definitely upgraded the Rams further.
Sure. Yeah, you've upgraded both of them, but the Rams more, right?
Yeah, let's look. I actually have this number right in front of me because I look at who I've upgraded. So the Rams are, a bigger upgrade than Baltimore would be higher than them, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of close, but I think I was higher on the Rams to begin with.
Okay.
Not as high as some people that liked them week 1, but looking at you, Sam. But they've both gotten upgrades. But the Rams, especially not just number wise, but the perception of this is a really thin team. This is a really thin defense. We had no idea that Puka Nacua was going to Puka Nacua.
Yeah,
we had very low expectations of like Cooper Kupp coming back, being healthy, and contributing in the way he's contributed.
Yeah, I had never heard the name Kyren Williams.
No,
he's very important to them right now.
Yeah, we were concerned Stafford might retire.
Yeah, for sure. So where I was going with all this is that the preseason market had this game Baltimore -5. So why is it -7 now?
I did. I mean, I think everyone's upgraded Baltimore though too. Baltimore's a big question mark.
Mark Andrews isn't playing, isn't he?
That was a big question mark. Like I don't think this is a crazy number where I have them right now. I'm pretty much on market here. It's the Ravens off a bye at home. You got a West Coast team come and play in an early game. It's an indoor team. Like look at the Rams schedule. They haven't played a lot of outdoor games. This is suddenly a nasty, and it's not Goff. I mean, we have Stafford here now.
Yeah,
I don't know. Bateman did miss practice.
Give me a run focused approach. First of all, Sean McVay is coaching his damn ass off. Like his wrinkles, his scheme, all of it has been just meeting exactly what the defense wanted to do on a given day and taking that away and finding ways to get it done. And it has been very, very awesome. I think this is going to be a run heavy scheme from the Rams in a weather game against an opponent where there are definitely places you can attack them on the ground. If you can kind of specifically key on Patrick Queen away from Roquan Smith, kind of use misdirection to get Kyle Hamilton on one side of the field and then run to the other side of the field. Like you can absolutely beat this Ravens team on the ground if you're the Rams. And I think they have the right weapons, health in general to do that and mix in a little bit of short passing stuff. I don't think you try to beat these guys deep. I don't think you try to hit home runs on them. The pass rush for the Ravens is a weaker test for this Rams offensive line than what they just faced. I really think the Rams offense can hang in this game, and market has let the Ravens drift up based on a couple of recent high profile wins against divisional opponents. And I think the Rams should be at least equal distant to the Ravens from the preseason, if not close the gap on them, because I think the Rams are much better than we thought they were going to be, much more competitive. If this was a preseason 7 and now it was 7, I would say, okay, yeah, it all checks out. But this was a preseason 5 and now it's a 7, and I can't square that drift at all. I don't even know at what buy point I would stop like betting the Rams side in this one, because I think this is going to be a very, very competitive game. Mark Andrews not being available matters. The Rams defense being, a top 10 unit over the last 8 weeks, top 4 unit over the last 4 weeks, I think is pretty freaking valid, pretty surprising and pretty awesome.
I would have made it 6.75 preseason. So I was higher on, I think I was higher on the Ravens as well. So I'm not that far off. I'm going to tease this. I still think the Ravens are in just such a good spot at home coming off the bye here. This is a good team, but it's still a team where, Nakua is facing a shoulder injury. Kupp has had some injuries where, he's come to the sideline. That guy's held together by twine and chewing gum, and he's tough, and we have a very tough quarterback. But, man, they're a couple injuries away from just pissing me off because I really like their playoff win ticket. And, when I did my calculus on them making the playoffs, I counted this as, this is almost certainly a loss. This is like a 75-25 kind of game. So I do like Ravens as a teaser. I'm not so keen on laying a big price in a weather game.
Okay. Well,
but you're right though. The weather does invite some variance.
Yeah. Here's one other factor, man. There's a motivational advantage for the Rams here. And it's not just because the last time they played the Ravens absolutely embarrassed them 52-7. It is the Rams are playing for their playoff lives, and the Ravens are coming off of a bye with one of the best records in the NFL, a lot of mission accomplished, a lot of, this game matters less than our Jags game next week matters. There's definitely, there are a lot.
Division up here. I would be wanting to lock this division. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is the kind of good Jim Harbaugh.
It's the players. The players can only hear so much from the same guy over and over and over again, getting them fired up. They know that they have exceeded expectations to this point in the season.
I don't think so. I think the expectations are always win this division, get something done in the playoffs. This is a team that hasn't gotten there. This is a team that, this is like the Chiefs pre-Super Bowls. Like, hey, we're good, but we haven't done anything yet. Like, I think you're off base on the motivation thing. Okay. It's Harbaugh. It isn't a bad coaching staff that's going to let them, rest on their laurels off a bye. I mean, You're right. The Rams have uber motivation. They're really kind of in it. They're 6-6 here. It wasn't looking good off the bat. Are they? Yeah, they're 6-6, correct?
Yes, they're 6-6.
There's so many teams in the thick of that NFC race too. Like you need all these games. This would be a huge one for them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just. Did you have any thoughts on this total? If you think the Rams can score on this team, this total's probably. That was my first look. Was this total's dropped 4 points, and I get that there's some weather, but I kind of think both teams can score. As far as the matchups go, I thought this total dropping was a little silly. I thought this should be like 42-43.
You and the world are sleeping on the Rams defense. The Rams defense only have had 2 stinkers all year. One of them was aided by a blocked punt and some pick six type shit against the Cowboys. The other was against the mighty San Francisco 49ers, who only got to 30. Every other game this season, the Rams have held their opponents to 24 points or fewer, Andy. Some of that is the pace. Some of that is the way the offense is playing. But yeah,
it's just like a middle of the pack. I had it up here before I was looking at it. It's like a middle of the pack success rate. Actually, it's very much a below average success rate defense, especially over the last 8-10 weeks. I think the Niners kind of let up in that one too. And to be fair, the Niners could have picked their number on a few different teams and let up. Like,
sure.
There was that tweet from Fox saying that some bookmaker had them 5 points better than anybody, which is silly. I think that's a little much, but I looked, I'm like, man, I can't remember the last time I had a team that was this far clear. It's like, usually you have a team, you're number one with the Bullets, like a point and a half clear. And that's like, damn. But the 49ers right now, I don't know if you should even be counting those games against other teams when you play them. When they're fully healthy. When they're fully healthy, it's a fucking way.
The beauty of this particular position on the Rams is that I'm getting 7. And if I'm wrong and the mighty Ravens do what they did to the Lions and the Seahawks, I'm going to keep betting the Rams. I absolutely think that if the Rams don't cover this number, the reason is the Ravens are as good as people think they are at their best. That is the reason that the Rams don't cover.
Have you seen
it's going to tell you more about the Ravens than the Rams.
That's kind of something I wouldn't mind here, because the Rams have some obviously they played the Niners in week 18, and for our playoff hopes, we hope the Niners are resting players, but the Rams have home games against the Commanders and Saints coming up. Like, I kind of want to see the Rams get the shit beat out of them, get a cheap price against the Commanders team that they can beat.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. What would you make that Rams Commanders right now?
Commies are coming off of the bye.
Commies off a bye.
Rams got to play 2 teams in a row off a bye late in the season, which sucks.
We'll cut down on the home field. I still make that like a 6.
Yeah, that's a 6. Yeah.
Anything less than that, I'll probably be 6.5 and look at. Good job, market. Fuck.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on. I'm very, very excited for that game.
This will be a good one of the early games. I'm pumped to watch this one.
Yeah. Detroit Lions against the Bears, 1 p.m. Sunday, in a game that the market apparently is expecting to be beautiful sunny conditions and no wind, no rain, nothing. What a difference 24 hours makes in terms of a weather forecast for the city of Chicago on Sunday.
If you don't like the weather, just wait 10 minutes.
Wow,
that's what they say everywhere.
This
weather was looking funny. So if you go look at the charts on this total, it started. It was a 44 on open, roughly, drops to 40, and it does it's like the math chart. Which one is that? X equals
asymptotic.
Yeah.
The limit does not exist.
I don't remember my calc.
I didn't see what symbol you made. It's hyperbolic.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It just dropped right in the middle, came right back up to kind of where it started. Once the weather report got squared away. Lions in a bit of a spot of bother here. Coming off some games where, hey, maybe the defense hasn't looked so hot. Not so hot at all. And then you have Chicago off the extra rest, and Detroit on a back-to-back road coming in playing a divisional foe, probably a coach that's I don't know, like 80% fired. I think he could still save his season if they look good down the stretch and Fields looks good and there's some buy-in, but it doesn't feel super strong that Eberflus is coaching this team again next year. It might be a fresh start. So the motivation, I don't know how it exists for the Bears, but like we said, and I talked about, again, I don't remember who said it, Tice or May is from The Athletic, but they said this is a team, if they want to do what the Lions did, they got to start winning games. They got to understand how to win games late. Wasn't pretty versus Minnesota, but, they got it done there. It's not a great team offensively, but this team can play a little defense. And I was kind of wondering, too, if this did turn into the weather game we originally thought we were going to get, that would be a fun, strength-on-strength matchup. This has been a really good run defense for the last, 8 weeks. And you have 2 really good running backs in the Lions. That would be kind of the unstoppable force, irresistible object matchup that would be fun. Now, maybe we'll get to see what we can do if the Lions open it up in the air a little. Probably advantage Lions there. It's a good secondary, not great. And you have a kind of an all-world in Amon-Ra. They using JMO a little more. I like how that guy is maybe the fastest person north of Miami. Jesus, when he took off that end zone run, that was something. So I don't know. The Goff tiny hands thing. You throw that in the mix. What do you got here? So I advocated, we both did, for taking this before it got down to the 3 on the Sunday pod. That was probably the move. Obviously, this market has moved strongly towards this 3. I think this is where we're sticking now. I don't know that there's enough Bears support to push this past this.
Yeah. Just refreshing on my algebra too, and the equation that does what you were showing was parabola. And it's kind of like y equals x squared does that too. But that's not relevant for the Lions Bears handicap per se. I think the Bears defense is still underrated by market to a degree. I think they match up well against the Lions offense in terms of concept, in terms of execution. I think the Lions missing Frank Ragnow matters a ton here. I think the chances that they're going to be able to get a balanced attack or lean into their strength, which is the run, I think is low. And I think the Bears secondary is playing significantly better. They get better every single week. They keep leaving pick sixes on the field, which is unfortunate for people who backed them on the money line against the Lions last time they played. But it's a defense on the come up, and I think they're getting the Lions at a decent time. Lions defense is an absolute atrocity. I don't know that you can really say anything positive about that unit in the way that they have regressed from, the highs of late September, early October to what they are now. They can be had many different ways. I would expect the Bears try to have them on the ground. I would expect this is more of a, I don't know that they're going to get a lot of a deep passing attack here out of Justin Fields. Maybe they do, but I would expect a lot of QB designed runs and intermediate stuff here for the Bears. The Lions can't generate much of a pass rush. The Bears offensive line is playing well. I think the Bears can absolutely win this game. I think the total is still probably an under, even at with the weather being fine. It's still Soldier Field, which is an actual turf field in the month of December after an enormous rainstorm comes through. So it's not like it's going to be an especially fast field. That could slow down the Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, but ultimately the kind of long-term implication of this game is this. I think this game decides the NFC North for the Lions one way or the other. If they win, it's very, very tough to work them out of the NFC North title. If they lose, batten the hatches. Green Bay's coming. Minnesota could steal. Even the Bears aren't eliminated yet. So there are a lot of permutations where a Lions loss here has super, super meaningful ramifications in the NFC North market and in the Coach of the Year market, where Man Campbell is your current favorite.
That's the big one, too. If Campbell doesn't win the division, he's just not going to win that award. It opens doors to the Steichens, to the Ryans, to the McDaniels of the world for sure. And yeah, Minnesota and Green Bay both road favorites this week too. So if you bottle this, there's a decent chance one of those teams is going to win and move a little closer to the LaFleurs. Yeah, LaFleur is not, his name could be bandied around. If they relax and run the table,
there is a super realistic and reasonable expectation that Green Bay is going to finish on an 8-game win streak.
Yeah, we joked about it, and I think I'm going to have to add to it. Because Drew asked, he's like, didn't you bet? I said, I bet Green Bay in the summer, like small bets.
Plus
like,
5 to 1.
The prices are worse in the summer. I'm like, I kind of want to double down. I might take some small bets on Green Bay to win the division, Green Bay to, get into the playoffs again. One of those, maybe even some Green Bay NFC, just because, I don't know, Love didn't seem fazed by Kansas City. If he's suddenly just clicking and they are healthy, it's an offense. Like, you do need some offense to hang with these teams. You're not just, there's nobody out there who's just going to be like, all right, we're just going to stop San Francisco. I think somebody who beat San Francisco, a fully healthy San Francisco team in the playoffs, it's just a shot for shot drinking contest, man. And you got to just like have the ball last kind of thing. That would be fun, man. Yeah. I would love like the Rams Kansas City game, but in the playoffs. So
yeah, it'd be great. It's possible too. Niners defense isn't as good as they're advertised. I'll just say that.
No, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the path to beating them.
Yeah.
Just score 40 points.
Carolina, New Orleans, you ready?
Easy. Oh boy.
No clue. No clue how to rate either of these teams right now. I have no opinion on this game.
I got bet by an under, and I might play another one, man. Because right now it's looking like, and the only thing that's keeping me off this is famous Jameis, who's too much of a variance wild card. He could be, if he's throwing interceptions in the red zone, good for me. If he's throwing interceptions in his, the shadow of his goalpost, very bad for me. So I'm probably veering away from this. It doesn't seem like Carr is going to be good to go for this one.
Taysom Hill's missing practice too.
Yeah, I mean, there's now that Thomas is out and Carr is out, and like this team is just dust. Dennis Allen's probably another candidate for a firing this year. Panthers are working with an interim coaching staff. This is not a watchable game, is it? I don't think so.
No. There's nothing good you can say at all whatsoever about the Carolina Panthers. There's no sugarcoating how miserable this season has been for them.
I mean, it's come down. The price has come down a little. That's the funny thing too, is there's been some betting down. There's some places that were down to 4.5 at certain times. Like, yeah, there's action on this game, but it's dead numbers, and it's like, well, I'm betting against Jameis.
People are betting against Jameis, or they're betting on the Panthers defense, which continues to get healthier and is at least coached by someone who's not embroiled in a palace intrigue type of backstabbing collective, because the offensive assistance and the second guessing of the development of Bryce Young, every story that comes out, I believe it, and I'm like, wow, this was an absolute disaster of a franchise. No wonder it ended this way. But speaking of disasters, it's disaster on disaster, because I don't know what happened to the Saints defense. They have careened off the cliff. Like, the Saints defense has nothing. They're offering nothing right now. Some of that is absence of Lattimore, surely.
Lattimore's huge, but it's been everything. The pass rush.
What happened to the pass? Why can't they stop the run anymore? Like, they can't even. They're barely even trying, or like they're barely even able to limit a first down, obvious running situation to like under 6 yards. Like, it's really, really strange how far that run defense is falling. I'm assuming that Demario Davis maybe hit his expiration point, or whatever support he's getting in front of him and behind him is just people playing poorly, because it's a hot mess of a defense right now. So maybe the Panthers offense starts to put something together. Who the hell knows?
Greg says they're not even going to make it to the Octobox. They'll
Fine.
show the control room, he said. Yeah, I'm not super interested. Like, yeah, well, I mean, what are your options here? Your options are betting it under.
Yeah.
Praying that the insaneness of Jameis Winston doesn't bite you. Betting an over, praying that Winston and a whole new staff of offensive coordinators over in the Panthers can get you home with a team that hasn't been able to do it on offense yet, despite against the Saints defense. It isn't any good, but it's a road game. Are we laying points with the Saints team over a field goal? That doesn't feel good. And then at the same time, taking any amount of points with the Panthers is never fun, because it's not a team you can trust. So save your money for the next one.
All right, Tampa, Atlanta.
By next one, I mean not this one.
This next one, the next one. Okay, there's a bet to be made here.
I kind of like the Bucs, man.
I kind of like the over.
Yeah, I can listen to something on that.
AJ Terrell, he's not going to clear concussion protocol.
He is definitely in concussion protocol. That doesn't seem super likely, and he matters a lot to a defense that has lost key pieces over the past 6-8 weeks.
They certainly have.
This defense was kind of looking like a decent defense. But I like the Bucs a lot in this, honestly, because of there's Akuda's not 100%. It could be,
and he sucks too.
And there's that too, I guess. But there's a decent chance you have two good wide receivers against backups down in Atlanta.
All right, the handicap here is very straightforward, and we can move on. Two hurt defenses. Dome.
Yeah.
Total under 40. Bet the over. Who do you think, gun to head, who wins the South?
I mean, right now it's just the Falcons have such an upper hand. If they lose this game,
you like massive. The Bucs this week, you said.
I know, but if it's still a coin toss.
Saints are laying 5.
It could get squirrely, yes, but I don't trust the Saints to go win that game.
You're gonna have a 3-way tie at 6 and 7 if the two outcomes that you think happen.
Okay.
So gun to head, who wins?
I still think Atlanta has I still think Atlanta has the tiebreakers there.
Okay. Are you going to play the Bucks?
Yeah,
Okay.
probably just straight up.
You're
Well,
not gonna tease the Bucks.
the best price was the best price was +2.5. There was never a 3 that really showed. So, like, I was always going to play the money line. So it'll be just Bucks straight up. This one's happening. I'm taking the Buccaneers on the road here.
All
Because
right.
not only
dig
that,
it.
but just real quick before we move off this one, because I don't want to talk about it that much longer either. It is a decent front, this Buccaneers front, and with the McGarry injury, it's not like they're going to run. It's a good running team. This is going to start to hurt eventually. There's Storm Norton rumors, buddy.
Oh,
we might have some Storm Norton sightings.
Oh no.
So,
oh,
yeah, and
no.
then obviously the
Storm on the horizon. Oh
Bucks
God.
are super high in the teaser rankings this week.
Yeah. How about Bucks in the secret pod play rankings? Team total over 19.
Bucks team total over. I don't hate that, but yeah, it might be Storm Norton this week.
Yeah. 2 hurt defenses indoors, total under 40. This looks like an over. Let's keep moving.
Okay.
Indy at Cincy. I played the Bengals. I don't feel great about it. It feels game state dependent, but I can't get over the fact that Jake Browning was able to operate an offense that was very, very live, and the rest of the players on that offense are healthy. The fact that you have now Higgins and Chase back, and you can kind of work with your tight end over the middle, is creating space for Mixon, apparently. And the Colts defense is not a unit that I'm going to war with. No way. I think this is a decent opportunity for the Bengals to continue to play spoiler. I think they're going to play spoiler a bunch down the stretch here. They're playing a bunch of good teams, and I think you're going to get them as small dogs or medium dogs on the road every week, and they're going to be a pain in the ass. I think the defense sucks in Cincy, but if you're matching up against a walking turnover in the form of Gardner Minshew, are you going to get a couple extra possessions here? A couple of short fields? Sure, why not?
Yeah.
So Bengals for me in this one, and this total got annihilated to the over as well.
Banger, obviously a banger teaser leg with the home dog here with a lively offense, and Minshew is just he's doing it in measured pieces. He's going to have one of those games where he has like 5 turnovers. Those always come. He had the fumble last week. It's not something he's like rid himself of yet. So for sure, like this one, Colts right tackle might be Dunzo Smith. He didn't practice today. A rookie had to step in for them. They're kind of winning despite Minshew. I just have some notes.
Very much winning despite
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and Gerald points this out too. This is a 4th road game in 5 weeks for a Colts team who is well coached. Got a bit of a blessing here. They don't have to play Burrow, but like you said, it looks like Browning, similar to Flacco, but obviously a way different situation because he doesn't have the resume, but they trusted him. They said, hey, we're not going to give you just easy stuff. We're going to throw down the field. You're going to have to look guys open. You're going to have to make pre-snap reads. You're going to have to do stuff out there. And he seemed like the moment wasn't too big for him. And this is a home game against a bad defense.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, and obviously I think that's why we're seeing some action to this over. But you know what else helps that? Having an all-world wide receiver 1, having a really, I mean, as far as wide receiver 2s go, you can do a lot worse. And then even Boyd, and then I'd have to go look at the dispersion chart to their tight ends. It feels like they have like 4 tight ends they use.
Yeah, like they all look similarly, and they all have numbers that are really close.
Tanner Hudson got a bunch of looks. Like,
yeah,
I think Irv Smith is on this team.
Trenton Irwin has the same build as a tight end. Yeah.
They have a bunch of, he's not even listed as a tight end, but he's a tight end. So they have a bunch of guys they can use here. So it's kind of a fun team.
To answer Sam's question, yes, Burrow is a system quarterback. He's also fragile. I can't believe the Bengals gave him all that money. How is the Bengals punt protection group? Fair question. Hopefully they can avoid 2 blocked punts in this one.
Did you see they fired their
special teams coach? Yeah. I here's one thought though. Generally, like
again, I kind of want the Bengals to win by margin here.
Sure.
And then it's not a strong play, but Then go up against Flores next week, and
Yeah.
Browning gets blitzed 60 times.
Yeah.
And looks like shit. We play Minnesota.
Yeah. We didn't cover Monday Night Football because it hadn't happened yet. We should give Zach Taylor some flowers.
Yeah.
Dude coached his ass off on Monday. Now, the 2 plays with the wide receiver throwbacks, you can leave those on the cutting room floor.
The trick plays. We can leave those.
We can leave those on the cutting room floor.
This isn't overtime versus Oklahoma, guys.
Yeah, basically every other decision he made in that game, I was like, this guy gets it. He knew his back was against the wall. He knew the stakes. He knew he was a dog. Every single thing was a check. Good on you. Like Zach Taylor. Well,
we've
done.
been trying to answer
well
this
done.
question for like 3 years, Drew. Is he any good, or is it? Did he find his way into? Oh man, we got the best quarterback, and we drafted one of the best wide receivers. And, we have some decent coordinators here. Zach Taylor's starting to grow on me. So
I'm just fascinated.
I'll be teasing this one for sure.
I'm just fascinated to see if 1 month of NFL action will turn Jake Browning from a guy you couldn't identify into an asset, which would be amazingly interesting. Like, what do they do? Are teams interested in Jake Browning? Like, that will be very, very, very interesting. Because guess what? Jake Browning is working with, Andy, an elite set of skill position players.
Yeah,
elite. And I think they can make some noise. I think they're going to ruin some. They're going to ruin some people's parties here on the way in. Keep moving.
And I have a small Colts to miss the playoff.
Shoot, they might have ruined the Jags party with that win on Monday. Like, that might have been the win that literally breaks the.
Yeah,
the Jags.
I mean, the injuries were massive, but taking that L was you were a 10-point favorite. Kind of had to have that one.
Ready to move?
Yeah, second half, Houston Jets. Reluctantly crouched at the starting line. Our guy, Zach Wilson. Not sure what was true, what was false, what was bullshit, what was hearsay, but super weird what we had going on in this one. And I guess he's back. And I don't know if they forced his hand. Like, we'll just cut all the other quarterbacks. You have to start. You're Tim Boyle. He's out of here. You're the starter now again. So
amazing.
He's better. Like, obviously he's a couple points better than Boyle, but it's not a great defense. Although we've seen Will Anderson really start to come around lately. So there's pieces on this defense. Stingley's good. Will Anderson's good. They have some good pieces. It's just not a good, unit as a whole. I hung a whiteboard up. And those stickers didn't work good enough. Scared the shit out of me. Yes, there's some big numbers in the Jets. And I want to point this out too. It was starting to come down yesterday. I think there were some people that were just making the assumption it's going to be Wilson before it was announced. So anyone who grabbed the number on that, good job, because it was always going to come down once he was announced. You guys got a good price. And now it's probably where it should be. The Texans are still a good offense against a good defense. Strength on strength, road game here. Kind of this one's looking like a little bit of a nasty weather game, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We should ask. I see Milf Hunter in the chat. We should ask him his opinion on the great Zach Wilson and the move. But I think this is pretty straightforward. Why the Jets are the side. CJ Stroud is operating behind an offensive line that has lost some valuable pieces, and he is operating in an offense that has lost Tank Dell and has a really, really serious problem generating anything on the ground. And now CJ Stroud has to take on his toughest defense faced so far this season.
In the wind.
On the road, in the wind. And
the Howling Meadowlands.
The Howling Meadowlands. I mean, this is going to be as tough of a test as he faces all year, period. If he shows up in this game, I will forever bury any questions, sympathy, sentiments that he's not the guy. Like this is the test.
Yeah.
If he shows out in this game and deals with the pressure the Jets can bring and succeeds against that secondary, he's the guy. And the Zach Wilson Jets offensive side of the equation here probably doesn't matter that much. Like, the Jets defense is good enough to keep the Texans in the teens, in my opinion. So a cover means you score a couple field goals and you get one touchdown drive. Against the Texans defense, that should be very doable, despite your offensive line being an absolute joke. You still have Garrett Wilson. You still have Breece Hall. Like, you're not
Garrett Wilson
completely
is just like
devoid of talent.
Young young Mike Evans. We're just like putting up with the shit and playing on a team that's not any good. And
so
doing it every week.
Confession here from me. You ready?
Ooh.
I have not bet the Jets all season. I have not bet the Jets all season. Not one time. I bet against them several times. Never bet on them once.
I feel like I just had unders on them.
Yeah, I've had some unders for sure, but I've never bet on this Jets offense. It's very possible this is my turn in the barrel, right? Like you thought that the Jets were going to even be able to, that there's signs of life with this Texans defense. They put a lid on Russell Wilson last week. He's not great, but he's certainly better than Zach Wilson.
Yeah. I mean, they had some issues. Like, I don't know. If you go back and look at that one, like, there was some weirdness that happened. Like, they probably should have scored at the end. There was that fumble where there was like 8 Broncos around it and they somehow didn't recover it. Like, the Broncos, I mean, the turnovers from Russ were rough, but Broncos didn't have much luck in that one either. So
yeah,
I still don't rate this Texans defense all that highly as a group. It's just a tough pill to swallow, man, to take the Jets, like making a bet based on the Jets offense.
Yeah, right. I feel like I made the bet in spite of them, but I'm gonna on Sunday.
I mean, if you got a good number,
it's very possible I'm out there with the mea culpa, and the Jets defense did their job, and the Texans still won by 7 because the Jets couldn't get to 10 points. Like, that's possible.
Yeah, this ending like 17-9. It feels like, hey, the Jets played their hearts out, but it's just like a long punt return.
Texans team total under. No, 32.5 is so fucking low.
Oh yeah, these team totals are going to be like, what are we implying? Like
17 to 14?
Yeah, it's going to be 17.5, 14.5. Probably is where we're at.
Ugh. Yikes.
Deal.
Okay, well, let's just hope Sauce Gardner can take one to the house. I don't know. I just don't think the absence of
Sauce
Tank
versus Stingley, underrated storyline.
Yeah. Interesting. The Texans defense for me right now is, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up. I have them 18th in the NFL. It's not that bad.
Okay versus the run.
Yeah. Just okay. They're not the Bears or anything. But they can be beat in the air. Yeah.
It's funny too, like we're gonna get to the end of the year and like the 2 top defenses are gonna be, drafting first and second. This is gonna be like Bears and Patriots.
Yeah. All right, ready? Seattle at the Niners.
So we said on Sunday, 12.5 and 13 are probably a bit much.
Yeah.
Somebody took a big swing early because this dropped hard and it dropped quick. I don't know if it was a service release or somebody just sprayed the board and lit up the screen on this because it dropped from 12.5 to 10.5 pretty quickly. It's probably more in line where it should be. I guess looking at my numbers on this one, I'm at 11. So probably fairish, but again, this is still a divisional game. No matter how highly rated we have a team, you have Seattle off the Thursday night, so you get second. You get the extra rest.
For the Seahawks. Yeah,
but it is back-to-back roadies. and it looks like it's their second of third. I think they actually play on the road next week too.
Oof, yuck.
So not a great.
No, they host Philly. They host Philly, don't they? On Monday.
Is it? They host them. I'm gonna have to double check that.
I think it's in Seattle. Yeah, they're heading to Seattle.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So real quick,
so just the back-to-back then, which also back-to-back in Dallas, in San Francisco. Not fun. That was part of the handicap for them when I bet them to miss the playoffs was, they'll probably just lose all these games. And they did surprise us against Dallas, though. We should talk about that. It was I don't know, Gino looked good. Gino cooked a little bit, and they were
he looked healthy.
It's kind of like I wondered about that too. Is was he just not all there? 100%. Getting some pieces back in the offensive line was that thing because they weren't 100% healthy as a team. They're still missing KW3. Charbonnet got hurt during that game. I don't have a full status on that. Sounds like both running backs kind of worked off on the side. Yeah, they worked off on the side or something today. Both of them,
did
I
they?
think.
Okay, that's not
well,
bad.
just like playing Uno or something. I think it counts as going to practice.
They were playing hearts over there. Okay, well, the Seahawks gin rummy on the side. The Seahawks, if not now, if you're not going to be competitive in this game against the Niners, then pack it up because it's not happening. Pack it up. You got extra rest. They are coming off of their in-season Super Bowl. They are having a full week of the NFL media industrial complex blowing them, and I think this is a huge number to cover when all they need is a win. Yeah.
What would you? Excuse me, a little froggy this week.
I got it too, man. I am
on week 3 of a
cold that will not quit, and it is not.
Yeah,
COVID.
my immune system is essentially the fucking Panthers this year. I've never gotten this sick every time.
It sucks.
If I were to pick a Tribe Called Quest song for the Niners week, it would be Award Tour.
Award Tour.
I've had that in my head all day.
On the award tour with Mohammed, my man.
But yeah, they for sure just getting their flowers. Everyone's loving them. The articles be written about the greatness of this team. And to be fair, they're not wrong. When this team is 100% healthy, I do not know how you defend them. This is a well-coached team, but it's still a young secondary in a lot of places. And I get taking a big number. I don't think there's some realistic chance other than, multiple injuries to the Niners. It's a home game with the best team in the league. This is a fucking truck on offense. Yeah. It's what I said for Detroit, for, the Rams, for the Packers, anybody who makes it into the playoffs. If you want to hang with the Niners, you have to have a game plan to be north of 30. Now, the Seahawks did that last week. Granted, not the same team.
Right.
This is a secondary you can beat, though. This is for sure some corners that are attackable. You have good receivers. So I guess I'm kind of wondering if this is like Custer's last stand for Seattle.
Sure.
They throw the kitchen sink at them. This total should probably be like 48.
Yeah. If this wasn't a super duper high leverage important game for Seattle, I would be very worried about them, because if Walker and Zach are no-go and you're going to do your standard Pete Carroll dipshit running attack with DJ Dallas, you are in deep trouble against this Niners defense. I am sorry. Like, this needs to be, we have a healthy offensive line at long fucking last. Let's max protect Geno Smith. Let him get comfortable. Let him get in rhythm. Let him deal. And then you got a chance. Like, the Seahawks, look, if they protect well and they're aggressive offensively in this game, like, they could win. Like, I don't think it's that crazy at all, even though we just saw 2 weeks ago a non-compete against Seattle at home. But the pass protection was useless in that game. I don't even remember. How many times did Gino get pressured in that game? 50, it felt like. It was not a competitive game, and it got away from them relatively quickly. So, yeah, I mean, I hope they're aggressive. I hope it's competitive. It would be chaotic as shit in the awards markets if the Niners took a loss after everybody's been glossing them all week.
Yeah. I leaning over. I haven't played it yet. Something I'm looking at. Mickey Hill says he doesn't know if he's ever had a team north of 10 in the power ratings. Everyone's is a little different. So, but I mean, yeah, I'm at like 9.77. Let's break. So we have a John L. Lee Amphitheater, the Stags.
Hundreds of fans. There was a nearby protest,
which
so there was
Stags are
spillover
we
into the
talking? Are we
amphitheater.
talking Hartford? Are we talking? There's a couple different teams. And then, that's, I mean, this is the hope for these people with 12.5, 13s. This is backdoor cover because it's a team that was slinging it, and these are corners that can be beat. So I might be talking myself into this over. All right, let's head to the desert where they're opening the beautiful Durango.
I dig it. Hey, have you seen what's your opinion of that?
It looks cool. I'm going to check it out, obviously. So it's nowhere near it's a Red Rocks offshoot.
It's like in Golf Shadow Creek Golf Country, Summerlin, West Summerlin.
If you're at the airport, where the strip is from the airport, it's like west. So it's
Fairfield.
It's not forever Fairfield.
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes from the Bellagio kind of deal.
I think you can
15?
get from the strip to Durango probably 20-minute over, but it looks like it's worth checking out. Sportsbook look cool, so I did check with that guy. What's his name? Mark. You know the guy who just does Vegas reporting?
Yeah, sure. Mark Metz.
Meltz.
It's
like Meltz.
Yeah, I think so.
I asked it because nobody has. Do you remember Pygao tiles? Nobody has that anymore. I had to ask him, but he didn't. He said no tiles.
Yeah, Meltz Vegas. Yeah,
Meltz Vegas. Love his reporting. Just because what a job. I think he just drives around and eats at Vegas places and writes articles about Vegas.
I liked how light it was. Like it really has a very light vibe to it, which is very different because casinos are notoriously quite dark.
The off strip stuff. It's a little more like that. Get to the cannery, guys.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of Vegas, Minnesota heads off the bye. They announced today it will be Josh Dobbs at the helm as a signal caller. I don't know if he has possibly some sort of leash attached to him. It's not great options behind him, but we saw a little bit of Josh Dobbs pumpkining.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Raiders team who is, I mean, obviously dead for the division, but I guess 5-7 isn't dead. Like this is kind of the nail in the coffin. If you lose this and have 8 losses, you're not looking in great shape. And so they can't be, putting up the white flag yet. They're putting up the pirate flag, baby. AOC, your take.
He stinks.
Yeah, it's a waste of a really good running back and a really good wide receiver in this offense this year. This team has been through some shit. Obviously, we had that huge, maybe one of the greatest dead cat bounces. Top 5 dead cat.
Incredible wins.
Yeah, top 5 dead cat bounces of the last 5 years. 2 of them have been with the Raiders.
The number one was the Raiders with Rick Focaccia.
Focaccia was amazing. But man cannot live on bread alone. They went to Josh McDaniels, didn't work out, and here we are with the 5-7 Raiders. I don't have a ton to say on this. The Vikings were released by a group earlier in the week, and not strong enough to push past the 3. It's still a road game. It's still a middling team, but Justin Jefferson is in. How big of a difference does that make? I think you can make the same argument that we made for Josh Browning, Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs. That, having a guy who can separate, who can route run like he does, just an absolute, maybe the best receiver in the league when he's out there, maybe outside of Tyreek, is that's probably a big boon to what we get from Josh Dobbs. That said, if that's the theory, why isn't it working with Devontae Adams?
Yeah, I mean, if he's smart enough to be considered for to be an astronaut, I would expect 2 weeks of learning the plays would open up the offense a little bit. The problem is learning the plays was never like obviously the issue. He's maybe better out of structure anyway. His arm is just not very good. He's got accuracy issues. And he's got the best protection in the game. He's got some of the best weapons in the game he's thrown to. And if not against this Raiders team, then I guess not at all this season for Josh Dobbs. So I would like him to have some more success. I like Kevin O'Connell as a coach. I like Brian Flores as a coordinator. Vikings should win here, but I really don't have any interest in laying points with them on the road with Josh Dobbs.
My numbers would have me betting the Raiders, which doesn't sound exciting at all. But
I'm just excited to recap this on
both teams have to bye, so Vikings bye gets neutered. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm just excited to recap this on Sunday after 3 or 4 more Dobbs turnovers, and we can just bury the astronaut.
It's funny that there are like strong opinions on this game. I guess I'll have to go.
I'll
go listen to Pizzola. I'm going to talk to. Well, I'll be on the watch along for the first quarter tomorrow.
Oh yeah, get the deets.
I'd love to hear what his strong opinion on the Vegas Raiders.
I have so little read on this team. Although I will tell you, since week 8. I don't really know why or what is going on here, but
Flores off the bye though. Oof.
Would you believe over the last 8 weeks or since week 8, the Raiders defense is top 6 in EPA per play? How does that score? Does that check out to you? Is it schedule related? Because I just happened to have that open as I was cruising through some stuff. I have
the last 2 teams they played for the Dolphins and Chiefs, dude.
I'm excluding turnovers.
Okay,
and I'm looking at
the last 2 offenses they played were the Dolphins and the Chiefs. So, granted,
it's the run defense mostly that's bullying.
The 2 before that were the Giants and Jets, which I'd say if you take those 4 teams, that probably averages out to 4 average teams. So there's probably something there.
Interesting. I did not expect the Raiders were going to bounce back as a defensive team. That's for sure. Antonio Pierce doing some things with that unit, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of them. Going back to week 6, they are a top 10 defense in EPA per play when you remove turnovers. That's wild. I did not have the.
I kind of want to watch this now.
I did not have the respect I potentially needed for this defense. Maybe is it all Max Crosby disruptive plays that's driving that? A couple of turnovers, a couple of picks, secondary playing better. Like it's some of the most of this is actually pass defense in the last 8 weeks. Their pass defense is equivalent to the likes of the some of the other good ones. Better than the Steelers, better than the Niners in EPA per play. Better than the Eagles by a lot. This is interesting. I'm going to dig into this. I didn't really intend to look at this game at all.
I'm just kind of looking at it. It looks like they're getting good coverage from their linebackers, and you're seeing other people contribute up front with the pass rush. The rush defense has just been good across the board from the front 7. But, I mean, these are names. It's just like,
the
Jerry Tillery. Like you're getting. It's not like he's out there. It's rotational up across the front, but like you're getting something out of Jerry Tillery. You're getting
Malcolm Kuntz, Robert Spillane, Divine
Kuntz
Diablo.
He's just a rotational edge rusher, but you're getting something out of him. Trevon Moring, the safety you drafted a couple years ago or this year, I feel like he's young.
How is there a middle linebacker named Divine Diablo?
Oh, Diablo! You know that? Diablo, yes, because
is he good?
Yeah, well, he's a tackling.
He wears number 5, and he's a middle linebacker.
He doesn't grade out all that well a lot, but he does get a lot of tackles. I just know we bet on him a little for Noonan's tackle props.
Noonan's guys. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. You're just seeing You're seeing better coverage with the linebackers, more people contributing up front, and decent tackling.
Interesting. I wonder what's up with this. All right. Well, maybe the Raiders defense is good. Surprise. Denver, LA. Denver's defense is grading better than the Raiders. They are they're 14th in EPA per play over the last 8 weeks. Their pass defense is better. Their run defense is not. They are taking on a Chargers team that has no weapons, a hurt Keenan Allen, no scheme wrinkles that get you going. I think this is a coaching mismatch in favor of Denver pretty substantially. That's reason enough to consider the Broncos here. This came off a 3. Somebody bet the Broncos. I think that might have been a number grab, but I also get it, kind of. I just don't really feel like getting involved with Russell Wilson again anytime soon after him not getting that cover home last week. That stung. I don't know, man. What's your read currently?
I hated that. I would lean Broncos here. I'm probably if it lands at 2.5, obviously going to tease it in quite a few, but it would be Broncos money line or nothing for me here.
Can you explain the Chargers market rating as currently stands at 9th?
I mean, yeah, it's too high. Like, I'm obviously not there because I want to back the Broncos here. But again, if you have a defense that can take away Keenan Allen, it's a team that is running the ball like shit right now. They're not going to have more success against this defense. It's a team that is become a little one-dimensional in the, who they're going to try to target. I know they're getting a little more to QJ and some of the other guys, and Palmer has a chance to play, but man, it's just not been a good offense. And they probably could have scored a little more last week. Like 6 isn't indicative of how bad it is, but this is even at home. Like, this is going to be an orange crowd. There's no home games. This is back-to-back road games. You could do a lot worse than traveling to SoFi. So Broncos, I make this closer to a pick 'em. I'd back the Broncos. I'll see if I have the stones to do it, but for sure I'll be teasing this.
I dig this. Okay. I haven't played that game yet, but now I got to.
I'm not excited to it after last week because the Broncos deserved a better fate and just couldn't get there.
Yeah. Let's get to the main event here. Buffalo at KC.
So I had to do a little driving today.
Yeah.
And I listened to an athletic pod.
I
don't remember which one. There's just these podcasts that have like a daily podcast, but then it's like different hosts every day.
Yes, drives you bananas.
It doesn't. I don't hate it, but it confuses me.
Yes.
It's like, am I listening to a recent one or am I accidentally listening to something old? Either way, it might have been something old, but they do the one where they have some beat reporters on, and they had the Bills guy, and
that was this week.
Yeah, this Bills
Kiefer
reporter.
and the Beats.
Yeah, there you go. That's the one. And legitimately, this Bills reporter, he said he asked Josh Allen like if he was even having fun anymore. So it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look like the guy who wants to go out there. And he said, he phrased it weird. He says, can I swear on this pod? Yeah. He says, hey, I asked Josh, he's like, why don't you look like the guy who wants to go out there and shove it up everyone's ass every week? Like I didn't love that. I know. It's like you ever do that when you're driving? And
hey Josh, why don't you want to skull fuck guys anymore? What the hell's going on, man?
I talk to myself a lot when I drive. I'm just like, buddy, what'd you just say?
Huh?
Either way, but to be fair to that reporter,
right.
it checks out. And a part of it was I do think, and I agreed with him here, it feels like they were running him less. Trying to be more risk averse with him, and it made him a worse quarterback.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure.
So I don't think we're seeing some like wholesale changes with the Joe Brady takeover at OC, but they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to do the stuff that works. He is going to run more. I might take his rushing prop in this game because I sure shit ain't going to take his side.
All right. Well, I'm expecting good old poundy in the ass Josh Allen to show up on Sunday. I think this is Bills. I think this is Bills money line. I think this is Bills alts.
They owe you because they should have beat the fucking Eagles.
They should have beat the Eagles.
They owe you some money, Drew.
They do. They should have.
Collect.
Although my number, my if you said all you can have this season in terms of results for NFL betting are the bets you've made on Bills games, no problem. Like, it has been a beautiful season of kind of picking the right spots, fading them when the defense was super hurt. And I think you back them now because the offense is super healthy and the defense has had time to get coached up to get, everybody now knows what their role responsibility is, which absolutely matters. Like, there's definitely signs that the defense is playing better in the last handful of weeks. Like, it's just a general ramp up. The bye week should give the secondary a ton of time to get right. A number of those guys were dealing with injuries and playing through it and playing poorly. They should be 100% here. So I would expect that the Bills defense looks fine here. I'm very worried about the Chiefs offense. I don't think a week fixes what's going on there. The wide receiver situation, like we were talking about it in the context of they really need a wide receiver 1. They got a wide receiver 2 doing the wide receiver 1 role. It's more like the wide receiver 3 or 4 doing the wide receiver 1 role. Like, the targets to Sky Moore are atrocious. The MBS stuff is
can just
brutal. MBS can create separation, but he can't catch. And ultimately, the Travis Kelce is worth watching. Like, I'm trying not to be reactionary because they lost last week when it was a relatively close game. And there was a couple coin flippy things that ultimately decided it. But Travis Kelce's not the game-breaking guy that I remember, even though his like EPA and the stats are fine this year. Like, they're kind of on track for a normal Kelce year. It just doesn't feel as dynamic. Don't understand why they don't use Rice. I don't know. Maybe I think Rice is good too. It may just be that he can't do all the things they need him to do to be wide receiver 1. And maybe he's not quite good enough to be wide receiver. Maybe he would be the world's best wide receiver 2 if he had Mike Evans on this team or something. So it's tough for me to really trust KC's offense to be fixed at all. I don't know that the good plays, not the good plays, matters. Presumably they would have pulled him out in the second half against the Packers, and none of that stuff felt all that creative. And there's been a lot of desperation moments from Pat Mahomes this year. Pat Mahomes weirdly not running as much last week was tough to wrap my brain around. Yeah, I mean, I think Bills offense matches up well against the Chiefs defense that is like a massive amount of slippage in that unit. Like, boy, oh boy, did they peak too early. Like, this Chiefs defense is not the same unit that was just throttling passing offenses earlier this season at all. Like, the Bills can absolutely have their way with these guys. I don't know if it's entirely health and absence of key players there, or if like people have just kind of figured out through enough tape that you can attack L'Jarius Sneed because he's too aggressive or what. But this pass defense for the Chiefs is not the same unit we saw, and their run defense has never been good this year. But maybe people understand it that better when to press the run button and the pass button.
That's a good point too. We've seen, if there's anything we've seen from Brady, it's been maybe using the run game a little better than what we saw from the previous OC. So that's why I do wonder about this over. I know some people are going to want to play this over. We've seen this tick up a titch. I think there's some 47.5s in the market. It's up to 48.5. I get it, but I do think the Bills kind of do some ball control stuff. They should be able to run the ball against this team. They're getting some depth back. Dane Jackson practiced. Who's the other one? They had a couple players. That
you're talking about,
like
Bill's secondary. Yeah.
Taylor Rapp, the safety. He's out there again.
Teron Johnson's healthy. Rasul Douglas is playing CB1 level quality so far. Poyer and Hyde are healthy right now. Yeah.
These are guys that are going to play, so you don't have to play DeMar Hamlin.
Right. Really, just this unit. Pieces. The linebackers that are out there every snap, like Dodson and Bernard, like those guys have improved over the stretch where they could do nothing to now they actually are like bona fide replacement level players.
Yeah, and like you said, the Rasul Douglas trade is turning out all right.
True, boy, to see playing well.
He just needed to change scenery, apparently.
Yeah, he is playing super well. So I think the Bills can win on both offense and defense in this game, and I think they can win this game by margin.
You know what I might do?
What's that?
I might tease the Bills.
You definitely should. I don't mind that at all.
High total, don't care.
This is starting to feel more, and I could eat these words up, but I'm fine eating these words actually. This has all of the whiffs of Mahomes offseason. Just he's having a down year, and it's not his fault. It's the way they freaking rostered this team, and probably the way they bringing in Matt Nagy.
And they're still
feeling
good.
Still feeling great about bringing Matt Nagy back. like did you learn nothing from Belichick about when coaches leave and fail? Like, there's no point in bringing them back into the fold. Elevate the young, hungry guys. Elevate a guy who is spending 10 hours after hours grinding film, coming up with concepts as the quality control. The next Mike McDaniel, the next Sean McVay. Like, find that guy in your building and elevate him. Don't bring Matt Nagy back. Like, he's doing nothing.
Yeah, so, a lot of it is the receivers, but Nagy's not blameless.
No, it's just there's so much reliance on Isaiah Pacheco. What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Like, yuck. This Chiefs offense is yuck, and the Bills are probably.
That's something the kids are saying now. That's an ick.
It's an ick.
It's an ick. My daughter says, "Oh, that's an ick." Like,
that's
he's an ick.
That's an ick. The Bills, my opinion at least, if their defense continues to stay healthy and get better, if the pass rush emerges at some point,
if a Bills to make the playoff ticket.
I mean, like, I don't know that they're going to make the playoffs.
That 5-1 right now. It's tough because they literally almost
so hard, yeah.
I think 5 of their 6 losses are in the AFC. Their tiebreakers are atrocious.
All terrible. They're all terrible.
They're going to have to probably they're probably going to have to win 11 games. Like, they're probably just
they got to win out. They got to win out. Yeah. But here's the weird thing about that. People are acting like they have the world's hardest schedule ever conceived remaining.
If they get this done,
they can win this game this week. They can beat the Cowboys next week. Are you fucking kidding me? What's the last good team the Cowboys beat? And we'll get to the Eagles in a second, and I'm going to qualify that I don't think the Eagles are a very good team. But the Cowboys are beatable next week. Then you get the Chargers and the Patriots. Anything the Chargers and Patriots doing right now scaring you for the Bills?
Even 10-7, 5-1 finish could get you.
Dude, you're going to be 10-6 going at Miami week 18. I think that's your primetime game, and I think that decides who gets the 4 seed and who is a wild card. That is my official prediction on how this plays out. Week 18, primetime game. Bills may be playing for their lives. Bills maybe win
I think
and
Miami
they get
has
the 4.
The division sewn up at that point, but the Bills the Bills are still playing for a wild card spot.
Who's Miami beating between Dallas and Baltimore, and how confident do you feel about that?
I just like them against Baltimore.
At Balto?
Yeah.
Oh, we disagree.
Okay. You're betting against Baltimore this week with a much inferior offense.
Yeah, I'm getting 7 points.
I know. I'm not saying I'm laying it. I'm saying I think they can win.
Okay. Interesting. So I'm worried about we're so off tangent here, but the Dolphins attrition defensively. Like, yeah, they got Ramsey back. Yeah, their numbers look fucking amazing. They played some really bad quarterbacks, and they've had some some kind of big injuries that are flying under the radar right now. Phillips, they did the linebacker. That linebacker's had so many snaps. When you lose a guy they're kicking the tires on some absolute ass at linebacker, which I don't like. I don't like that.
They're getting a guy who is a walking 15-yard penalty. The depth, and again, grain of salt because it was Washington, but the guys who filled in did a really good job. And I think it's just a well-coached defense.
Okay.
So
okay.
All right.
So Bills.
Like
Bills.
Buffalo,
I think the Bills win this game, and my official prediction is the Bills will win up to week 18. At which point, Bills Dolphins is your primetime game, and it decides the winner of the AFC East. And the loser, if it's the Dolphins, gets a wild card. If it's the Bills, question mark. Bills can win all 5 and not get the playoffs. There are plenty of conceivable combinations. I have done them all. There are lots and lots of ways that the Bills win 5 games and do not get into the playoffs. And that would be sad because at full strength, this Bills team is the best team in the AFC right now, in my opinion. But it may be too late.
I'm really looking
also, Sean McDermott is still a dunce.
The Bills would have to win out because then they'd also would be 4-2 in division. Because then Miami beats the Jets, and then if the Bills beat them that week, then they'd both be 4-2 in the division, and then you would go to win-loss tied percentage in common games, and then who knows? Because it would be the only feasible way. This is
Bills beating the Chiefs and Chiefs beating the Dolphins helps the Bills. That might be the only common game where they don't have a split, right?
Yeah, the rest would be divisional stuff, and then I don't know. I'm not going to break down to common games live on the podcast. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Okay.
But
whatever.
All right,
Whatever.
Philly Dallas. I'm pretty okay with both of these numbers. These are incredibly on market for me. This is where we should be. The Cowboys are a slightly better team right now, as rostered. They are highly volatile because we don't know if they can actually play and beat teams that aren't just donkey shit. That said, this secondary and what it can give up should be just very enticing for what the Dallas Cowboys do on offense. Maybe don't run the ball at all. Maybe Pollard and Rico were healthy scratches this week. Not even going to use them in pass protection. We just got another guy. We got a tight end back there to chip. Doesn't matter. I think you should throw the ball a lot in this game if you're Dallas, and I think that'll be highly successful for you out in space against the secondary. Numbers still probably about right for me because it's still an Eagles team it's a divisional game. They're coming off an ass whooping. It's just back-to-back for them too now.
Eagles were home last week.
Eagles. Oh, it was Dallas off extra rest. That's the
Dallas is
caveat.
rest, yeah.
So Dallas extra rest, Eagles off an ass whooping is what I wrote.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm kind of mad I didn't get Cowboys at 3.
Buffalo lost to Denver. That's a bad one too, as far as tiebreakers.
Yeah. The Bills would win common head to head if they beat the Cowboys. Cowboys beat Cowboys would. It's fucked up. Forget about it. It's all still so convoluted.
Yeah.
We have no clue what's going to happen.
The Bills probably just lose out.
They probably just one more loss and the Bills are officially
they win this and then lose the next 5.
That could be. That very well could be. I think the Cowboys. I did the matchbook show today. I had my numbers in front of me. I said this is Eagles or pass. It's very hard to get to 3.5.
It's a lot of points for a good team.
I'll be damned if I can find a way into this game for the Eagles. Like seriously, what's the way in for the Eagles? I couldn't say it because I didn't have it. I was like, my numbers say Eagles or pass. I'm gonna pass. I don't know why. I blabbered a bunch, and the more I've thought about it today, the more I'm like, what is the Eagles' way into this game? Like they're kind of fucked. Maybe the Dallas defense isn't as good as we think, and the Eagles can score enough through the air that they put scoreboard pressure on the Cowboys in this one. But the Eagles aren't running the ball well at all. Their defense right now stinks out loud. They're at a rest disadvantage. Like this is a huge motivational spot for the Cowboys. Like I honestly don't know what gets the Eagles into this game.
Yeah, I mean, what's the Cowboys team total implied here? We're looking at 28-24.
Yep.
I don't know how the Cowboys don't get to 28. If there's a team total if it's 27.5 minus 120 or better, I think that's a banger. Like no matter what happens with the Eagles, I think the Cowboys get theirs. I think the Cowboys get theirs early. There's paths. Yeah. There's for sure paths to the Eagles winning. They would have to have one of those banger second halves like they've had. Think of the Bills game where they were just perfect, where it was Sirianni and why can't I think of their OC right now because they switched
Brian
coach.
Johnson.
They put together a really good game plan. They make really good adjustments. The offense is punting one or fewer times in the second half. has to be just a perfect second half like they've been able to throw together. They play ball control. The defense gets a couple stops, and they're able to make this a pretty good game. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to. It's going to be really, really hard to stop CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
it's going
there's
to be
no
hard to
answer
stop all these tight ends.
There's no answer on that roster for what the Cowboys are doing right now offensively.
Yeah,
the Cowboys
both,
are,
if not all the tight ends, everyone.
Yeah. The Eagles defense right now is as weak as it's ever been, where the Cowboys are the most effective at hitting you. The Cowboys defense pass rush against the sitting duck and Jalen Hurts sounds pretty good to me, even though you have an amazing pass pro. The Eagles offensive line is getting nothing going in the running game right now for whatever reason. Not that you could ever really run that well against the Cowboys anyway, but I think there is a chance the Cowboys defense is a hair overrated. I think they're a top 10 unit. Clearly, they're probably top 5. But the Eagles are in trouble right now, in my opinion. And by the time we get to the playoffs, if they have a bye, because the 1 seed's still very attainable, then maybe none of this matters. When Jalen Hurts is healthy, maybe none of this matters. They got 2 games against the Giants and a game against the Cardinals, which should all be relative layups. They could probably rest Hurts the final week of the season and the bye if they have it. And they're still going to be monster favorites at home in the playoffs because the Link is a very tough place to play. But so I'm not saying the Eagles season is over. I don't know that they're beating another elite team in the regular season as currently constituted.
Yeah. LA proved what week are we on? Week 14. I'm out in the wrong week here on my app. And then just wanted to mention.
I guess real quick, one last thing, and then I'm curious your thoughts. There was a lot of kind of what do you call it, like autopsy. There was a lot of figuring out what happened with the Eagles last week. A lot of autopsying. That's not a verb, I know, but there was a lot of just reckoning, accounting, trying to figure out what happened. And most of it was focused on Eagles offense, and that's fine. Like the Eagles offense should have done better against that Niners defense. No question about it. And if they score touchdowns instead of field goals early on, it maybe is a very different game. Like that's entirely possible.
What's the score if Mariota starts? I'm not doing that.
What was their score last week? 42 to 17, 19? 40. I'll go 42 to 13. But the issue is really just like the Eagles defense gave you a quarter of pass rush. It worked. Then they ran out of gas, and then no one on that side of the ball had anything at all. Right? They were just done. They were dead. They were exhausted. They've been playing hard week in, week out against teams with extra rest and elite offenses for going on 5-6 weeks now. And it's, the wear and tear of that stretch has beaten these guys to a bloody pulp. And I don't think 7 days fixes that. And I don't think going on the road fixes that. I don't think going up against the Cowboys offense fixes that. So I think this Eagles defense is in deep trouble in this game, and they'll be right by the playoffs. Maybe they'll even learn from some of these losses and have better game plans in the playoffs. They might be the team to bet in the playoffs in rematches against the Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers because of these late season lopsided results. It's possible. But I've kind of completely turned heel on this game.
Is it coincidence?
Cowboys minus this 3.5.
Coincidence this Eagles defense has kind of flopped and floundered at the exact same time as the Georgia Bulldogs.
Great
losing
question.
In the SEC title game, being left out of the playoffs.
The Georgia voodoo is over.
Oh, it's like how twins can sense each other's pain because they're made up of so many Bulldogs. Yeah, I
post-morteming. Thank you, Christopher.
I really would struggle to. This is one of those ones where I think maybe we're overthinking it, and we're doing the fake sharp thing where it's like, oh, it's a division game, and you're getting the hook. You got to take the 3.5.
Yeah, that was kind of what
so it's like
yes.
it's like, and at the end of the day, isn't everything we're saying we should be taking the Cowboys -7?
Yes.
It's a second straight week of being in a bad situational spot against a team with an offense that has the weapons to beat you. Yeah, I'm just gonna play the Cowboys team total over. That's a bet. That's a 27.5 and any reasonable juice under 1.833. We'll go to you're well, I
good.
just saw
Yeah,
I
good
saw
to
food
1.833. Yeah, good to 1.833.
Good to 1.833. Don't pay 1.8.
1.832.
If I can find it 1.87.
Great. Okay. Final thoughts on Cowboys potentially running the Eagles down in the division.
Oh,
I
had a question for you.
Help.
So somebody said I'm rooting for the Eagles for the Purdy MVP.
You should not be.
I was going to say, I wonder if that should be. I wonder if you're actually because if the Eagles win, even if it's not a huge Hurts day, if they can continue to win these games, if they won 3 out of 4 of their tough games and they finish this season like 15-2, I think that's bad for Purdy MVP. I don't think there's a good outcome for you here for the Purdy MVP. Either Hurts gets elevated or Dak gets elevated. It's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't.
An 8-pick game works.
Yeah.
In prime time, everybody's seeing everybody get picks. I don't think it's happening though.
You need them both to get hurt, but yeah, I think if you have a Purdy ticket, you're cheering for a bunch of Dallas receivers falling down at the 1 and Rico Dowdle getting 4 scores.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
No, you want a couple of Dak picks and a win. That's what you want.
It's called evens.
You want a 3 touchdown, 3 interception performance by Dak Prescott in a 42-17 win.
Yeah.
Actually, you don't want a 42-17 win. You want like a 26-17 win. Like you want something to juxtapose. Wow, the Brock Purdy and the Eagles. The Niners. They thunderfucked these guys last week, and the Cowboys. Like, man, Dak threw 3 picks. They barely beat him. Yeah, I mean that's what you want.
And like Dak punches a cheerleader.
That's probably not happening.
Dak punches Dolly Parton in a cheerleader outfit.
That's definitely not happening.
Seems unlikely. You need some sort of ill will towards him from the voters. Hey, I should have mentioned this mid-show, but there's still 100 some people watching. I'm sure with the YouTubers on there too. If you're watching over on Twitch or on the Twitter, pop over to YouTube because that would help too. But hit the thumbs up. I would love a bunch of thumbs ups. Had a lot of fun. This is a fun week. Last week without buys. Next week will be even longer because it'll be all the games. Double Monday night.
This one pretty tight.
We kept it tight because we have 2 Monday night games. Just 30 seconds on those. I would lay it with Miami at this point. If Simmons is going to be out, Henry's going to be limited. I don't see the only way that they're keeping that close is if Miami decides to keep it close. Man, I mean, there's just no good matchups for Tennessee in that game at this point, even with Miami losing some pieces on defense. That is such a gross game, and they should probably be 15-point favorites. Okay. Green Bay Giants. Green Bay is up to 6.5, 7. I guess. It kind of depends if you're in on the love stuff. Giants are off the bye week, but they're still going to stick with Tommy Cutlets, even though Tyrod is starting to get healthy. I'm pretty okay with those numbers. Like,
yeah,
you got a 7-point road favorite and a total of 36. Yeah, kind of reason with that and realize you don't need to bet that game.
You want me to do a quick Brian Dable translator for you? Tommy DeVito has earned the starting job.
We're tanking.
We're tanking. Yeah. Darren Waller, he looks better, but he's probably not going to be ready to go.
Yeah, we don't want to hurt
We're
him.
tanking.
Yeah, like Waller. I saw that today. I'm like, Waller could play. They're just keeping him out.
Yes, I agree too. They even who's the super good defensive lineman who they're holding out too? Dexter Lawrence?
I thought he was in. I haven't.
No, he didn't practice today.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. Maybe I'm misremembering, but
Stay healthy, guys.
I basically saw that. I read, I saw like
the Waller
positive,
stuff was,
and then
damning.
read the comments. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So we're not trying to win. Okay.
Good.
Somebody did text me and say don't bet Green Bay though, because like apparently some guy who's a huge mush bet them this week. I didn't see it though. So tough to say. We'll dig though. We'll dig. I'll get a huge.
We'll talk about it below Sunday night.
Yeah, I'll get it. We'll dig and I'll get a real handicap going for Sunday on those two games because I haven't really thought about them, to be honest. Although Green Bay, real quick, I know we probably have some listeners who are among the 30 in Circus Survivor Million, Circus Survivor, which is a $9 million plus prize. First of all, congratulations if you're in there. I think it's pretty obviously Green Bay this week because you get to see the rest of the games play out. You get to know exactly how much your entry is worth before Monday Night Football.
And there's a small chance that you could be laying like a hedge.
Exactly. You're going to get a massive price. You get a massive price to hedge.
Benson said they might even work with you at the cage.
No,
credit.
They are doing that. They're giving people
that makes so
massive.
much sense.
They're giving people huge numbers.
If you could prove like that's my entry, why wouldn't they loan you 150?
Yeah, you want to bet 50K on the Giants at what is it going to be 4-1 by then? Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, because
no, it's only going to be like
even if there was overlay on the contest.
Yeah,
that money that's sunk. Like, yeah, we would love it if you borrowed money from us.
Yeah, we'll get to keep part of the prize pool. Of course, yes, of course, we'll happily keep. And if you get bounced before the end, you get something out of this. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's good business. Absolutely. So I think it's pretty obvious the right plus EV decision this week is Packers because of the flexibility it gives you with hedging. Next week, I don't know.
Yeah, the BetSperts contest we ran that had thousands and thousands.
Resolved?
There was like 30 some left. And I think 12 or 15 had the Jags.
Jags. That was the big Jag spot.
It took a big bite. So I think there was like 25, something like 25 left in that one.
Yeah.
Super Bowl tickets on the line.
Yeah. That's cool. You're out. I didn't even enter because I figured I wasn't liable for. I mean, I wasn't.
I realized I wasn't live. I wasn't allowed to win. I entered anyway to pump up numbers.
Cool.
But I was out in like week 2 anyway. So
I dig it.
We will catch you tomorrow for the Thursday halftime. Like we said, our profit exchange prop over there on their exchange is 1st to 10. If you want to get 2 to 1 on the Patriots, I think it was 1st to 10. That's a fun one for sure. We'll catch you again. Thanks a lot. Hit the thumbs up. Peace out. Love, peace, chicken grease. See you guys tomorrow.
Snackful outro.
Well done.
Well done.
You know the Kiefer and the Beats podcast you mentioned? I
just call it the Athletic Podcast.
That episode, the weekly spot they do though, that episode, like, and that guy kind of like, I have very mixed feelings about him because